and Canadian troops were patrolling the bar districts. So they use special events to acclimate you to this, like having troops at the Kentucky Derby or troops at the Super Bowl, and then they just start rolling them out everywhere. But there's the Ottawa Citizen. Canada, U.S. agree to use each other's troops in civil emergencies. Canada and the U.S. have signed an agreement. By the way, they signed it 8 years ago. This is an expansion that paves the way for the militaries from each other's nations to send troops across each other's borders during an emergency. But some are questioning why the Harper government has kept silent on the deal. Well, 8 years ago when it was announced in the AP and the Washington Post, Toronto Star as well, it was in the Mexican newspapers, because they're not just going to use Mexican and Canadian troops here, they're going to use them in Canada and Mexico. It's all vice versa, each other's armies inside each other's countries. And under the agreement, it was a North American Union agreement for North American Security Perimeter 2002. Then it was signed under executive treaty, which is unconstitutional. Congress didn't ratify it, by George W. Bush, Vicente Fox, and who was the Prime Minister of Canada at the time? It'll pop in my head in a minute. The point is they signed it at Baylor, about 90 miles north of me up here in Waco, and then the treaty was secret. I mean, it was on record, secret treaty, and there was almost no news coverage of it. But then Judicial Watch and others sued and were able to get not the treaty, but the SPP meeting from 2006 at Banff, Canada, where they were reading over sections of the treaty. So we got most of it from the minutes. And at that Banff, Canada meeting, you had over 500 CEOs from Europe and North America and Asia, and they ratified the plan for the SPP, the ongoing plan, and then ordered the heads of the different state departments of the countries to execute it. And I mean, in the thousands of pages Judicial Watch got and posted on their site, and we boil it down and cover it in Endgame. And there's a bibliography of it in whatistheendgame.com. Everything in the film has a bibliography online where you can check every minute of the film. It has links and documents. And that's why I'm always freaking out. This is so big. This is so out in the open now. And it said we're going to call it a North American Security Perimeter, but we've got to integrate our nations by stealth because this is very unpopular politically. And in there, they said they would use the threat of terrorism, natural disaster, the flu, other biological problems. They said that they would use that as a way to sell the public in the future on accepting having each other's militaries in each other's countries. And WorldNet Daily covered it, Judicial Watch covered it, we covered it, Coast to Coast AM covered it, a few others did, but really nobody else. But the point I'm making to the caller from Monday is he said on the spot, give me documentation, and I gave him from memory a lot of places where he could get it. But, I mean, here's February 22nd, yesterday. I got it this morning without even looking. I mean, I see this stuff every month or so, sometimes more often, where they admit that it is to suppress insurrection. I mean, go read it. It's the National Paper of Canada. One of the major national papers of Canada. The Ottawa Citizen. And there it is. I mean, just last year I sent some of the crew, Rob Dew and others, up to Chicago. And they did drills of putting Americans in sports stadiums, arresting people. And they had Polish troops, Czech Republic troops. And they were training to go back and suppress their population. And our military was training to suppress our population here. And it was admitted that that's what it was for. And then they had an unannounced drill the day my guys had to fly out, but it did come out in the news that they had another drill at the big football stadium in Chicago for locking people down and rounding them up. And then I showed you some RAND Corporation documents 2 weeks ago on air and federal government articles for the Army and FEMA dealing with sports stadiums and how to put people in them and lock things down. I mean, see, that's what's so frustrating about Glenn Beck and people saying, oh, I'm going to expose the FEMA camps, oh, they're real, and hyping it for a month and then coming out and saying they're not real and using straw man examples of camps that aren't camps. And I even predicted he'd do that. I mean, it's frustrating to pore over this 24 hours a day. I mean, I was dreaming about all this last night. I don't even get rest when I'm sleeping. And then to see people knowingly up there posing as patriots deceiving you. I mean, it makes me very, very angry. I would love to fall down on my knees and lick Glenn Beck's boots if he would just tell the truth, just like I do Ron Paul. I mean, I want there to be leaders who are real. I don't want to, it's not, you notice I don't attack other talk show hosts very often. I like to praise people when they go in the right direction, when Limbaugh or Savage do. And I try to praise Beck when he goes in the right direction. He just consciously mixes deception in, and that's what's dangerous. But here it is. If you want to know about foreign troops for America and vice versa for Canada and Mexico, there it is. Big paper in Canada. New article out yesterday.
The largest part of gaining radiant health is detoxification. You can drink ionized water, cleanse your intestines, eat a perfect diet, and even take lots of quality supplements, and in many instances, only make minimal progress. What is the key to detoxifying your body of mercury, heavy metals, chemicals, and drugs? It is glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant used to detoxify your entire body. It stops free radicals, keeps cells young, and reduces inflammation. One World Whey protein powder may be able to raise your glutathione production by 64% or more. One World Whey is more effective than any other whey protein powder on the market because it is unheated and from grass-fed cows. All other, quote, cold-processed whey protein powders have been heated and damaged by 15% or more. One World Whey comes in 3 delicious flavors. Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
Have you ever felt like the United States government knows way too much about your financial affairs? I continue to hear stories about property seizures, frozen bank accounts, confiscation of stocks and bonds. It makes me wonder if the U.S. citizen will ever again have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, with the Drug and Money Laundering Act, the IRS Revenue Ruling 6045 of 1984, and the Trading with the Enemy Act and Franklin D. Roosevelt's Executive Order of 1933, some precious metal holdings are subject to government intervention. For this reason, Midas Resources has prepared a report explaining the boundaries of trading precious metals privately. Whether if you have any intention of trading with Midas Resources or not, I have instructed my representatives to give this report out free. Call for your free copy at 1-800-686-2237. When investing, always proceed with caution. Again, call 1-800-686-2237. Exercise your legal right to trade metals privately. 1-800-686-2237.
A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
How well and how fast does Heart and Body Extract work to improve blood circulation? Listen.
My name is Ellis, and I am 66 years old, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed as having clogged arteries. I had 70% blockage in one artery leading to my heart. They wanted me to go on Plavix, but I refused, knowing the negative side effects.
Heart and Body Extract is a unique balance, synergy, and proportion of herbs reaching from head to toe at maximum absorption around 95% at the cellular level.
Within the first month, I felt a dramatic difference. The heaviness in my legs was reduced, and within 2 months, I felt completely normal.
Your natural organic herbal formula for heart health is Heart and Body Extract. Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract. Call 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
Well, I'm not the kind of kissing.
By the way,
seen with Farrah. I've never
in Seattle and other cities, restaurateurs and coffee shop owners are refusing to serve TSA agents. These are restaurants and things outside airports nearby. And in one case, the owner of the restaurant, coffee shop, said they've humiliated me. They've basically grabbed me. They've yelled at me, and I am not going to put up with it. And so they turn their backs on the TSA workers whose faces they recognize, or when they come in uniform, and they do not serve them. And shunning is a powerful way to protest. By the way, I said I'd get into Donald Rumsfeld and the big 9/11 development, and we'll cover that in the next segment because I was waiting to confirm that Eric Mueller, Mancow, could come on. Incredible interview he did a few days ago where Rumsfeld said he doesn't know about Building 7 and has never heard of it, which, of course, is a bald-faced lie. It was a giant CIA command base, FBI base, NSA base, Defense Intelligence base. Almost the entire building, every floor, but a few, was government black ops. That's on record. The state command center, the federal command center for a 3-state area was in there. Giuliani's bunker. They done the big renovation a year before to harden it against attack. They did some special modifications. But Mancow's starting to wake up to 9/11. Now, he's with his family right now, with his kids. He's going to try to duck out of a restaurant and talk to us for 10 minutes. That's coming up in the next segment. But the exciting development is that the TSA is a globalist move to acclimate us, to condition us for prisoner-slave training. But it's a perfect issue to get the people together because it isn't about liberal or conservative, how they always divide us. It's about we're human beings with dignity, and what you're doing is wrong, and it's not keeping us safe, and we don't want to be microwaved by the scanners. I went and got my hair cut yesterday, and the lady who cut my hair, her boyfriend was flying back from North Carolina, and the scanners were still in place there. A lot of the airports, they've turned them off or barely use them. And they put him through the scanner, hands up. They were doing pat-downs of everybody else who'd already gone through the scanners. See, it's not just refuse the scanner, get a pat-down. They're phasing in both. To train you to be humiliated, to train the TSA workers to then hit the streets and have checkpoints. That's already being rolled out. This is about training everybody, government, media, the public, the courts. They don't even follow the radiation laws of OSHA with radiology. They just do whatever they want. You know, a dental office, emergency room, they've got to have weekly and monthly checks and calibrations of their equipment, and private firms coming in and testing it. Not the TSA. We'll do whatever we want. No radiation badges, no nothing. But there she was, and she's not a listener of the show. There she was, out of the blue, not even, she knows who I am, as people come over and shook my hand, every time I'm there getting my hair cut. But she's like, yeah, you talk about TSA, I heard. Well, this happened to my boyfriend. And she was telling me how angry she was and how she might not fly anymore and how this was wrong and how it's humiliation. And she totally got it. So I told her, spread the word, say no. So this is a fight they're going to lose. We've got right on our side. If we stand up and continue to expose what they're doing, they're going to fail. But to have restaurateurs, in fact, and other business owners, because Watson reported one story. I did a search and found several others. This is a trend. And this is getting picked up by other people. So I want to invite folks to go to prisonplanet.com. In fact, let me pull the article up so I can give you the exact headline here. I know he wrote that this morning. Has it already rolled off? A featured news? Man, they post so much stuff at InfoWars and Prison Planet, even our original news that's bombshell, that it scrolls off in a few hours. I guess you got to check the featured news archive. That's the link there. Here it is. It's still on Infowars.com in the featured news, second story. Seattle businesses refuse to serve TSA agents. So I guess he does have the multiple businesses there in Seattle. But this is spreading all over the place. And so we're not going to associate with you. We're not going to talk to you unless it's coming over, and if you're a congressperson letting this happen, or you're a government bureaucrat letting this happen, or you're a TSA minion.